Bobby? Water sucks. Gatorade is better.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your commish with another Gatorade Fantasy Football Podcast update. Are y'all ready? All right, let's go get it. All right, everybody, what is up? Week 2 is in the books. Here we are with another pod. TJ and I are talking over Discord. What's up, TJ?
What up, what up, what up?
We're making things a little bit easier on travel, so TJ doesn't have to drive over here, and upload time will be faster because it's a smaller file. No video this week. You won't see our sexy faces. Maybe in a couple weeks. This week, a couple teams stayed undefeated and some stayed defeated, and we'll see how those streaks continue. Today, we are going to talk about, TJ and I have some injury updates, some game reviews, and game previews as well. All right, let's kick it off. For injuries, TJ, who do we got?
All right, we have Aaron Rodgers still has his little knee issue.
Yeah, they cleared it up.
Didn't really look like he had a problem with it. Maybe sometimes where he didn't fully commit to it, but he looked pretty good. I think he even had a little run.
Like near the end, like he had like a roll out to
scramble.
the right.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. Fournette seems like he's still questionable for this week with his hammy injury, so we don't know anything about that until later into the week.
Probably rest him a little bit more. Yeah, they cleared up Devontae Freeman. Kind of, it was supposed to be like a 1 week thing. Then they went, oh no, now it's 2 to 4 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks, and now it's like, oh, they're unsure. So fire up your Tevin Coleman's, which is, that's why you kind of draft both if you have one. Joe Mixon had his knee scope, of course, after he beat the Ravens, that fucker. But he should be out for 2 to 4 weeks. That's what they said, but I was listening somewhere, probably Fantasy Footballers, or maybe Chris Harris. They talked about Sony Michel had the same surgery, like at the beginning of August, and it took him over a month to get back and ready. So they said 2 to 4 weeks, but it's probably longer than that for Joe Mixon.
Yeah, he could be back in 2 to 4 weeks, but then it'll still be a problem for him that'll probably last maybe the whole season.
Yeah, like usually things like that, even though they're not too bad of a surgery, it still affects you, especially the knees. Yeah.
Kenneth Dixon is designated to return. He got put into the IR, but I think he has to miss 6 games.
Yeah, I think it's a minimum of 6 or 8.
Yeah, 6
something
or 8,
like
something like that. Le'Shawn is out.
Cracked ribs. But
ribs.
Is it cracked ribs for sure? I remember they said, oh, it's broken ribs. Oh, no, it's not. And then now it's cracked. Okay.
Yeah, he's cracked. So he's had this injury before.
Yeah.
And I think he only missed like 1 game, or I don't even think he missed a game. They're saying he might miss 1 here, but more than 1 is not
highly unlikely.
He's not missing more than 1, pretty much.
They can't afford that.
Yeah.
Then I saw what was it? Josh Allen, like, I don't know if it was meant to be a draw, but he took off and it was like an 8-yard run, but he like juked the linebacker, and then he didn't dive or he didn't slide, and he kind of like dove forward. I'm like, bro, you're supposed to be a franchise quarterback. Do not do that. Like, just go down, man. Just let it happen. Don't hurt yourself.
Kind of almost look like Andrew Luck, and Andrew Luck has his goddamn sliding problems.
Yeah.
This was like a couple years ago. They had to bring in a baseball player so they could teach him how to slide.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Ravens brought in RG3 to teach Lamar Jackson how to slide, because he's like, you could learn how to slide, you have a good career, or you could not learn how to slide and end up like RG3. Fucking second or third string quarterback. Also for injuries, we have Todd Gurley, Dalvin Cook, and I think Melvin Gordon. TJ said he's not sure. All left games, at least temporarily, due to cramps. So Uh, Gurley didn't care. Gurley was on the sideline laughing. I think the Chargers ended up winning anyways. And yeah, Cook, he left and came back. I mean, they should all be fine.
Did Cook come back? Because I know it was in overtime. I'm not sure if he came back or not.
Oh, I know they said it was like a hamstring problem, but he said it was just cramps.
Yeah, so I don't think he came back into that game because I think it ended pretty quickly after he went out.
Okay. All right.
For wide receivers, Fitz had a hammy problem. I'm not sure exactly what the problem was. Maybe like a heel restriction.
Yeah, he might be 37 years old. And he's like, oh, this season's not worth it. I should have retired with Carson. And then like, I hate Sam Bradford. My hammy hurts until Josh Rosen gets in. It's something like that, I think is what he said. Mike Wallace injured his ankle, carted off, which sucks because that's a lot of injuries for the Eagles. That happened last year, but they at least had a good quarterback last year. Nick Foles had a nice run, but it's just like Joe Flacco, nice run in the playoffs, but in reality, you're a fucking mediocre quarterback. I'm fucking sorry.
Danny Amendola has another concussion. I'm not sure how many he's had. He's had a lot.
Yeah.
But he's going to be brought down in the pecking order of receivers because I think Edelman's coming back soon, and they just picked up Josh Gordon.
No, Amendola is on the Dolphins.
Oh, wait, he's on the Dolphins? Oh,
yeah. I mean, he's down in the pecking order anyways, but...
I'm thinking about Edelman, sorry.
Yeah. Edelman should be back soon. Yeah. Oh, suspensions. After week 2, Aaron Jones will be coming back. Jameis Winston coming back next week. Who else was suspended?
Week
4?
Yeah. 3, I think.
And that was actually one of the things, too, like the way Flea Flicker works. To put someone in IR, like for the settings, it says like this player must have this injury at least, and then like it goes like healthy or like no injury, healthy, then like questionable, probable, even though they got rid of probable, like the NFL did. Then it's like doubtful, which I think if a player is doubtful, they should be allowed to be put in the IR slot maybe, and then it's suspended, and then out, and then PUP and IR. So even if a player's not injured, they're suspended, they are allowed to be put into IR. I was fighting about like taking that off and changing it where they should just at least be out, because I think only injured players should be able to be put into IR. But it's not something that like I'm really willing to change right now in the middle of the season. So we'll see how that works.
Probably won't do that this season, but for sure next season.
Yeah, change. I emailed them. They emailed me back. They said, yeah, we're hoping to get that kind of setting fixed up soon. But thank you. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Cool. Jarvis Landry had a limited practice because of a knee. They weren't really specific, but all they just said was he's limited. Tight ends, Jordan Reed is still off the injury report, so that's a good thing.
Yep. Floppy toes.
So,
and we have Greg Zerline. Greg the leg hurt his groin, and you need your groin to kick the football. They brought in another kicker, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And,
didn't even really matter. They went for 2 points and mostly got all of them because of Todd Gurley.
Did you see what happened to your kicker?
Oh God!
He got replaced.
Cut. Did he get replaced already?
They signed Dan Bailey.
Oh, thank goodness. I need to pick up another kicker because that guy went 0 for 4 or 3?
3.
0 for 4 was a Cleveland Browns kicker.
Oh, God. Oh, that was one thing I actually, like, I even, like, made sure, like, to explain. I wanted to talk about it because I was listening to, like, the Ringer NFL show, and they talked about a new trend where teams, they don't want to pay for their kickers. Like Dallas, they didn't want to pay Dan Bailey, who's been an amazing kicker. So they'd rather draft younger guys like Dan Carlson with the 5th round. They'd pay him his 5th round like markup, and then they're not going to pay like Kai Forbath, who they had, who's a good kicker. They're not going to pay him $2 million, $3 million a year, because they'd rather just pay Carlson. And this is what they get for being cheap. You know, I guess they're number supported because I guess they think that they're not that important, but they kind of are in real life. And now look, like you have kickers in fantasy, and they just screwed a lot of people over. Like TJ, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered for you. So
Minnesota should have won their game, and the Browns should have won their game, but that's what you get for signing kickers that suck.
For cheaping out on kickers.
Yeah. A little extra for QBs. Marcus Mariota, we don't know anything yet, but we expect him to be out because he still can't grip the ball.
Oof.
And Carson Wentz is back this week.
Ooh,
he's for sure starting this week, so Carson Wentz is back for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I bet you Alshon's probably going to play this week because they said he's going to start practicing this week as well, so they probably timed it up perfectly. Alshon was like, my timeline is Carson Wentz, cough, cough, Carson Wentz. I'm not playing with Nick Foles, but that makes sense. All right. Moving on, guys. Sorry.
Game previews.
Reviews. Yeah, game reviews with an R. All right,
Sorry.
First one up. It's all good. We have Tasha Rain at Slight Work with a score of 127.68 to 86.84. This was a lineup, or two former champs going up against each other, and Corey comes up with a huge win. Like a 40-point win, and he got like good production from his entire squad. He started Aaron Rodgers as anybody would, and
he wasn't even the highest scoring QB. He had 30-point scoring QBs on his bench. Who sits Ryan Fitzmagic? Who does that?
When you have Aaron Rodgers, you do.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, you do. I would start Rodgers over any of those two, and that worked out because Devontae Adams still had a good game with it. Rodgers there. If Huntley was there, I don't know if Adams gets a touchdown. So that worked out. His two running backs. Oh man, PPR monsters. Chris Thompson had 13 receptions for 93 yards.
Everybody caught passes. Was like Saquon Barkley had like 14 receptions today.
I think Christian McCaffrey had like 14, 15. It was nuts. The running backs were nuts.
Oh my god, they were catching everything. You look at all the stats for running backs on Flea Flicker, it's like 13 receptions, 14 receptions. Like, no, that's so stupid.
Yeah, James White had a good game 2, 7 receptions for 84 yards.
Not bad.
Man, DJX had 4 catches. One was a 75-yard bomb
on the first play of the game.
Yeah. But it doesn't look like Fitzpatrick is going to lose his job to Jameis
Winston. Yeah, I doubt it.
Forgot his name, guys.
He's a loser, that's why. He's too busy like being suspended eating them W's.
But yeah, Fitzpatrick looks good, and that bodes well for DeSean Jackson. All right, on to Manny's team. Oh, Manny's team. Without Leonard Fournette, he had to start Demaryius Thomas at his flex, which didn't work out so well. Only 4 points from Demaryius Thomas.
I watched that game too at work because I was on my break, and he had 3 drops. Even at the end when they were like coming back, he turned around, it hit him in the hands, and just.
It was a rough day for Demaryius Thomas. I mean, Case Keenum didn't look good either, but Demaryius Thomas had a worse day.
Yes.
David Johnson. Oh boy.
Shut up.
They do not know how to use David Johnson. Well, that Arizona Cardinals offense is inept.
No, they said they're going to use him more. But they said they're going to use him more, guys.
I hope they do, because David Johnson is one of the best running backs in the game right now.
Yeah, very skilled. And it was actually crazy. I remember like checking my score. Antonio Brown had negative points, and Michael Thomas had negative points at one point. It was like the beginning of the week, beginning of the games. Antonio Brown had like 1 catch for like negative 2 or 3 yards, or something like that. Oh yeah, he almost had he had negative yardage, and Michael Thomas had 1 catch for 8 yards, and a fumble. So he had negative points, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Why are both of these guys like eating ass right now?"
Michael Thomas saved his day. He had 12 catches, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 12 catches is insane.
He didn't save anybody's day. I still lost.
He still lost, but his day was saved.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown had a rough day by his standards. He only had 9 catches for 67 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Big Ben threw it for 60 times, which is insane.
Yeah, that's
60
crazy.
times. He's done it before, but 60 times in any game is a lot.
That's a lot. You would think he would do better than that. You got to do better, Antonio. You got to do better. But it was a good win by Corey. He already said we'll have that was a division game, so there will be a rematch, and I hope to spank you sometime in the future. But until next time, sir.
On to the next game.
On to the next game, yeah. We have TJ Paper Footballs at Motorboat and Sons of Bitches. Speaking of spankings, this is another loss for the Kokamish, and the thing was he did score like an 88 on the coach rating. So I mean it's just bad luck. He did play his best players. You know, like at least that's something TJ or no, it was 88 last night. It says 94 today. So that means you played the best players you could have played. You know, maybe if Dan Carlson made all those kicks, how many points would you have had?
I would have
like
had
six more points.
Yeah, so like 90-ish points.
Yeah, and if the Patriots didn't let Blake Bortles go ham on them, you know, so like he had Case Keenum, Saquon Barkley, and the New England defense all had positive game outlooks at the beginning, but they all underwhelmed. Keenum couldn't throw against the Raiders. Barkley couldn't run against the Cowboys. He did have 14 receptions for like 108 yards. That's what saved his day. But you expect something bigger when you go up against like a Dallas defense. They're improved, but I didn't think they would stop Barkley.
I was watching that game, and Eli Manning had no time to throw. They were in his face 150% of the time. It was insane.
That's a bad team. Like, it's a bad line. Who was
They
it?
couldn't get anything done.
Yeah, it's actually pretty sad. I remember, was it somebody, an announcer, or somebody on Twitter, like, wrote, oh, man, I forgot. I can't even find it. I'm actually looking for it right now. But they're talking about how they spent $95 million on OBJ, and then, oh, here you go, by Roger Sherman. They're like, you know what YouTube account that throws expensive... Oh, there's a YouTube account that throws expensive stuff in a blender just to see if it'll blend. Anyways, the Giants paid OBJ $95 million and drafted Saquon Barkley with the number 2 overall pick and have no strategy on how to use either of them, which is pretty sad because those are two extremely talented players and are just wasting away on an inept franchise. And, oh, the Patriots, they let the Fournette-less Jags throw for 377 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's just bad. And first kicker, Dan Carlson, missed all 3 of his field goals, including the game winner for the Vikings, not for TJ. TJ doesn't have a game winner. Today, actually, is a nice game by Fred. All of his points came between Thursday and early Sunday morning. And if you guys look at like the app or the website, it'll show like, you know, your scores, and they'll like break it down by quarter. But if you're on the computer and not on the phone, if you hover over like the 1, 2, 3, and 4, the first quarter is actually, the way they calculate it is, it's all the games that happened between Thursday and early Sunday. That's your first quarter. All the afternoon Sunday games are counted as your second quarter. The Sunday night games are the third quarter, and the Monday night games are the fourth quarter. That's how Flea Flicker actually breaks it down. So when you're like looking at it on the computer, you can kind of see how many points you're scoring throughout the day. So like for this game, after the first quarter, which is Thursday to early Sunday, Fred had 117 points and TJ had 22. But and then the second quarter, Fred had 0 people play. TJ got 29 points. And then third quarter, Sunday night, Fred had nobody. TJ had Saquon Barkley, who scored like 18. And then in the fourth quarter, the Monday night game, TJ scored 16 points and Fred scored 8. So it kind of helps you break down like throughout the weekend how your team is scoring. I think that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Man. AJ Green had 3 touchdowns on 5 catches. And that was what? In Thursday night?
Yeah.
A big chunk of his points came on Thursday night. Because I think, who else did he have on Thursday night? Right?
Wait, sorry, what was that?
Oh, no, you're fine. But yeah, a lot of his points came in the first...
The first
I
quarter,
think,
Thursday night.
Thursday to early Sunday.
Yeah, he had, if you hover over the scores, it's like Eagles defense, AJ Green, Kirk Cousins, Tyler Eifert, DeAndre Hopkins, Nelson Aguilar, Henry, all that stuff. All right, sorry about that. For Fred, yeah, like Cousins and AJG had huge games, and Hopkins and Aguilar didn't slouch either. But he did have Derrick Henry, speaking of slouching, and Eifert continues to disappoint as well. I think Eifert is just like horrible. In like 6 seasons, he's never played an entire season and only produced like good fantasy numbers in 1 season. It's just like, a Gary Barnidge type, just 1 good year, and people think he was still good after that.
Yeah. They said they're going to keep him on a pitch count the whole season. So, I don't know how that bodes well for any fantasy team, or his team, actually.
Yeah, I feel
honest.
like that would be not work out so well.
But Fred has a nice team. What can you say? Especially with Carson Wentz coming back, Aguilar will probably keep that or be even better, especially with a thin receiving core.
Yeah. All right, up next
we have Reg versus Josh.
Yeah, take this one, TJ.
Reg thought he was going to lose this game when he had the Bears defense going up today, and I think Josh had Zeke playing last night. But, well, here we go. Reg scored 152 points. I think that is a top scoring team of the week and probably one of the top scoring teams of the year. 152 was a lot of damn points.
Yep. Yeah, TJ and I looked into that throughout the previous years, looked into the history. We have a bunch of 140s. There's 155 by Mikhail last year in the winner's bracket. I mean, he had already lost in the playoffs, but it was the winner's bracket, so yeah, I don't think it really counted. But we've had a few 150s. I went back a couple years, and I feel like someone had 160. Might have been Jordan, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, but it's 150 is a very, very nice game.
Yeah, dude, he has Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes threw 6 touchdowns this week. That isn't... No. Was it 6?
Yes.
Yeah, it was 6 touchdowns this week. I had to make sure, because 6 touchdowns is a lot. And he's thrown 10 touchdowns over the 2 weeks. That's the most ever in the first 2 games. I think Peyton Manning had like 9 one year. I think Drew Brees had around 8. But Patrick Mahomes has 10.
Yeah, first
he is
2.
Insane.
I think that's what they were talking about on the Fantasy Footballers, which is pretty crazy. And it looks like he's like, this offense was the offense that Andy Reid wished he had when he had Vic and when he had McNabb, and he finally, I guess he has the perfect quarterback and the perfect wide receiver and the perfect running back and the perfect tight end to actually run all of it. So I think that's why he's actually feeling really happy right now.
Mahomes has a lot of targets. He has a ton of riches. Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and he has Sammy Watkins on the side. I mean, that's pretty good. I think he scores a lot this year. And his defense isn't that good, so more throwing for Patrick Mahomes. He also had a good game from Chris Hogan, who came up with 2 touchdowns, but it was only on 3 catches. And with Josh Gordon coming in, you don't know how the receiving pecking order will go. But we still think Hogan will be up there just because Gordon will be his first week with Tom Brady. And for Josh, he had, I think, the third most points this week, and he still lost. Well, because he was playing against the top scorer. Watson and Kelsey had good comeback weeks. Kelsey had 26 points. And I think Kelsey will probably be number one overall this season.
He could.
Patrick Mahomes, I think.
He could. If he continues that. I'll never count Gronk out. I just think Gronk is, like, just supremely talented.
Yeah, Gronk is crazy. He's a really good tight end. Probably best tight end